Imagine the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix in a book form, but for Harley. Hi guys, welcome to my review of Harleen, one of the latest graphic novels to come out from DC Black Label. It's written and illustrated by Stjepan Šejić. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. It's essentially a Harley Quinn origin story, who was created by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm in the animated series. You probably know of Harley Quinn's origins. It's one of those characters who didn't really need an origin story. Because, well, like Batman or Superman, well, probably not like them, but still, most people know how Harley Quinn came to be. Even though everybody knows who she is and her origins as part of cultural osmosis from the comic world, there really hasn't been a particular story or an adaptation that really delved deep into her beginnings. This book does exactly that. It's essentially flashback narration story by Harley, or it begins like that, and it picks up from her starting to work at Arkham. She's basically a researching psychiatrist who wants to know what causes known criminals to take that one particular step to basically cross the line to the point of no return. And eventually she's funded by Bruce Wayne and takes up a job at Arkham, and of course falls in love with Joker, etc., etc. That's not the thing. I always thought the most interesting thing about Harley was that, and actually I thought this could make a great movie, how could a well-educated and intelligent person can actually be transformed into a murderous psychopath by someone she calls her patient and is nowhere near as intelligent as she is. Not that Joker is less intelligent than Harley, but that's what she thinks. And in order to be influenced by someone, you need to have a certain respect to the individual in front of you for them to be able to, affect you in any real way. That transformation of psyche is what this book is about. Of course, there are a few things depicted along the way that basically, that are predictable. You have to have them in order to move the story along. But those things are so well done, it's very forgivable. This book is no small undertaking. To be able to both illustrate and write this, Mr. Šejić is truly a gifted individual. At times, the character designs of Batman and Joker may look a little feminine than they are usually depicted to be, but it perfectly matches the story itself. It perfectly reflects Harley's inner psyche, because this is from her point of view. She is immensely beautiful, of course. There is also, this book can also serve, spoilers, can also serve as an origin story for Harvey Dent. Actually, the perfect way to do it would be to, write for Mr. Šejić to write a Dent book and make the parts that transform Mr. Dent to Two-Face cross over with this book, because it's very clear that there are a few more details to be told in Harvey's story as well, even though you can see his origins pretty clearly in this book. The art itself, I mean, the character designs are very good. The art itself is very clean. It's not very kinetic because there isn't a lot of action in it, to be precise, but it fits the story because as it mostly deals with what's going on inside Harley's head, it makes sense that it's a little tame and calm in terms of kinetic energy. That way, actually, in the few instances where there is action in the book, it hits you and it is more effective, makes for a more dramatic impact. And they're mostly utilized in splash pages. Its pacing is somewhat slow, but it's satisfactory. See, there are books that I read in a single day, and this was not one of those books. But you are happy with the amount you consume the book, and most importantly, wherever you leave the book, you always want to go back to it. So that is more important than the pacing of the story, that it leaves you with such a taste in your mouth that you want to go back to it. As with most of the Black Label books from DC, it's not really connected to anything, but being an origin story, it can be considered to be connected to everything, basically. It's just Harley Quinn's origins. So if I were to describe this book with a single sentence, imagine the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix in a book form, but for Harley. That's how I would describe it. It's a gorgeous book. If you're a fan of Harley Quinn, you don't want to miss this book. See you on the next one.